Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and today we're gonna be benching a little bit. So specifically, if you're looking at the tiny camera, actually let's make that big. There we go. We're benching not one, but two GTX 760 OEM cards. Now this one is the dodgy one that I cap modded, and this one is the non-dodgy one that I actually properly repaired. And if you actually I kind of really like this display of these two cards, because here you can see just how cap modded the left one is. Like, the left one kind of looks like I've just added 6 capacitors in total, but if you look more closely you can see that there's a lot of empty spots on the PCB that I populated on the left card, plus there's another 6 capacitors on the front of that card, which this one doesn't have. So yeah, coincidentally this one has a better core. Like, it boosts high out of the box, and it has a better ASIC quality. But this one actually clocks better because, well, it's cap modded to hell, and this thing doesn't come with like any capacitor stock. So having a better core doesn't help that much, because this one does bench higher for core and memory. So yeah, let's build the setup. I just wanted to show the cards. That's why the setup is built yet. It's not that it's hard to make. Just gonna plop this card in, connect our capture card, plug in the other card, get our SLI bridge. I'm using the this high bandwidth bridge, which is actually from the old Gigabyte test bench motherboard that I used to have. I mean, still have, just don't use it anymore because it's very, very unreliable. And let's get our power connected. So let's go back to... Oh, you can actually see me recording the audio here. Interesting. Let's go back to here and just hope that the capture card works. It should work. I've pre-tested it because, like, I have a... So the HDMI port on the primary card is dead. I don't know if it works on the secondary, but the primary one has a dead... Hey, it works! Nice! I find it kind of interesting how I see a picture in OBS before I actually see it on my screen. Anyway, here we are. Let's load up GPU-Z to check if we are okay. Sometimes the top card runs at just one PCI Express lane, but now it doesn't. They both have X8. SLI is enabled, and just make a quick test. It does work. You can see in the bottom left that we are at full speed on both cards for the bus interface. So yeah, so these are the cards we're gonna be working with. Let's also get MSR Afterburner started for fan speed. These will get pretty loud. These have the same fans that like any other blower card has, and they go to the same maximum speed. And my fan curve is fairly aggressive, as you can see, because this is, I mean, it is Kepler, like the K that stands for Kepler, and Kepler likes just like everything. It scales with everything. It's Kepler is together with 28 nanometer, like just everything 28 nanometer is my favorite stuff to work with because it just scales with everything, with code, with voltage, capacitors, whatnot. So I hope it won't be too loud. So yeah. Yeah, so these cards are a bit special. As you can see, it says 192-bit here, and we do actually only have 1.5 gigabytes of VRAM instead of 2, because these are, well, OEM cards. So TechPower calls them the GTX 760 OEM. Officially they're just called GTX 760 192-bit. but they are OEM SKUs, like you saw the red PCB, the unbranded heatsink. I mean, they are MSI cards, but it doesn't say, except for the product number on the back, which you get an MSI product from when you Google that. It doesn't say it's an MSI card anywhere, because this is from like a Dell or an HP or something pre-built. Which I'm surprised that these even do SLI. Like, yeah, like the SLI thing I might have just been, because this is like using a pre-made PCB, and the SLI thing I might have not actually been functional, but they are, which is nice. So, as for the GPU, this is also a very, very cut down GK104. So the 680 or the 770 have the biggest GK104, which has over 1500 cores. Here we only have 1152 enabled, which for our two cards makes a total of 2304 cores total in the setup. You know what else is based on Kepler and has 2304 cores? The GTX 780. And that's the kind of interesting thing about this. One of these cards is basically half a 780. Not just in how many cores it also has half the memory bus of a 780 and half the memory of a 780. Now in traditional SLI your memory doesn't stack, so we still have 1.5 gigs, we don't have 3. Only in NVLink the memory actually stacks. Here it doesn't. Yeah, like basically these cards are half a GTX 780. Which makes for a fairly interesting idea if like back then, like because this was also available as a 660 OEM. So the 660 OEM is literally the exact same card, just with a different name. It has the exact same specs. Imagine back then, because like first there was the Titan, then the 780. Imagine if you got like two of these super cheap 660 OEM cards, you put them together, you basically get a 780, except that you have like half the VRAM. That would have been like a pretty nice budget build back then. Anyway, let's actually get started. So, we're gonna run a base on 3D Mark to, yeah. These also have the exact same BIOS version. I'm gonna make a base test on 3D Mark just to see where they land. I've actually never ran these, both SLI at stock, but well, these run like really slow. They also run at really low vCore. Like, this goes up to like 1.08, which is actually, yeah, that's actually less than what my 2080 Ti can run at for max voltage. And this is Kepler. Kepler runs fairly high voltage. So, yeah. Yeah, let's run them stock. Stock, they should be at like 900 and, or like slightly under a gigahertz. Memory stock is 2.8 gigahertz, like pretty slow. The stock power limit is also only 90 watts, I think. Thankfully they have a 145% slider, so we can max the power limit to territories where they won't power limit at all, because we don't have voltage control on these. You have to vid mod that. You can't even use a normal potentiometer. I've tried that with one of the cards. What the hell did 3D Mark just do? Why did it just... Okay. If you watched the videos, specifically about the top card, no, that runs. You will have seen that the top card is intermittent. It's weird. It doesn't... It's not fully functional. And especially 3D Mark seems to have issues with this card. It sometimes just randomly crashes. Like, the card's fully stock. It's not doing anything. I've overclocked the card by itself, not an SLI. So, yeah, I know the card works most of the time. Actually, since I've modded it, I didn't have it had, like, crash without affecting at all. Which leads me to believe that maybe the reason why this card was like intermittently artifacting was actually because this ran at like really high temperatures and starved of airflow in some pre-built system for years and years, and the few capacitors that it had were probably just like completely roasted and dead. So the voltage on the card might have been so unstable that that's why it's been not running. So, okay, now 3D Mark works. Great. No, it doesn't. Why are you doing this? The card is stock. Why are you... Yeah, 95 watt limit, and we can essentially do 140 watts, which is more than the card will ever pull. Also the AC qualities. So this is the top card. This is the bottom card, slightly better. Wow, this thing didn't boost at all. Is it not boosting? What the hell? I'm just gonna restart. And if the top card comes back at 1x, I'm swapping the cards. I've been told that the top card is under more load, so I would put the better clocking card on top than the worse clocking card, but the top card just is weird. So swapping them out might yield better results. If your top card like comes back at 1x, then yeah. And I'm swapping the cards. Actually, I can leave the power cables in. Just gonna be... Yeah, the top card is weird. It's not very reliable. It has an artifact since I've modded it, but it doesn't change that the... Might also just be like stuff in the PCI Express slot of the board. Also, I forgot to do this. Should put a fan over them. Because they do have memory modules on the back. So having a little bit airflow like between the two cards should help. Except when that happens. Stay put. Okay, doesn't work now. Please just work. I don't want to troubleshoot. I thought the 1.1 said X1. I almost panicked. It's the bottom card, alright. It is. Do we run render test? We do. Okay. We are 14 minutes in and have yet to run 3D Mark. That's usually what happens when I try to record things. Like, when I don't record things, things go well, and when I try to record things, this happens. Just waste 15 minutes just trying to run the benchmark at stock. Please just work this. Please just work now. Because, like, we could totally just run Valley, but the problem is, I don't run Valley enough to know what kind of score to expect. Also, Valley is like super weird, and you can like get a lot of extra score by just optimizing your OS. So the scores we get from that would just be overall less comparable. That's why like Firestrike, it's... Well, I mean, you can do things like LOD and that stuff, but it... Like, I mean, everyone does that at the high end. Whereas, like, Heaven and Valley have, like, pretty weird optimizations as far as I know. So, please just run this time. Yes, please keep running. looking good so far. And you can probably hear the fans ramp up. There's like quite some air coming out of here. Do I have like a bit of paper that I can... Here's a piece of toilet paper. Like... I mean now, like even when the card is like not actively under load, it just goes, oh, just, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, piece of paper. The worst part, this is not even the worst audio that you can have. I could have the phase change running. I'm just not doing it now because I've not moved out yet, and other people live in this house that I would wake up. I mean, there are gonna be the other people living in the new house as well, but it will have much thicker walls. Okay, we've made it to combined. Please just finish now. I mean, there's not really that big of a reason to run CPU in combined other than seeing the overall score. Which actually, yeah, let's just run GPU tests to save time. I don't want this to be over an hour. Because if it is, then the sun will come up by the time we're done here. It is like 15 minutes before 4 AM right now. I mean, you can see it in the corner. Okay. So we have LOD on, so the score is slightly higher than what it, like... Yeah, we have LOD on. Okay, basically 10,000 graphics score is where we start. Which apparently is really bad for the... Okay. So basically... that was me pre-testing. And that's why the average is so high, because I'm probably the only person who's ever ran two of these in SLI. Like, these are like weird OEM SKUs that you can only get if you get them from like pre-built systems. And I just happened to find two of them on eBay at the same time and was like, why the hell not? So yeah, you can see like I've made a score here, then one there, and then one there. Yeah. Okay. So we start at 10,000. So let's max this and go give it 100. I have actually seen cards that can't do this, but the older cards can like basically all do it. It's like 10, 20 series and up that sometimes boost so aggressively you can actually add 100. And usually I start at 300 for the memory. Most cards should do 300 in this from this generation. So let's see where that lands us. Oh, by the way, I've also, so on top of LOD, I've also set Windows to best performance for the from just its graphical. Like if you look at the font of the logos, you can see that's, yeah, it's set to like the highest performance. And I've also tweaked the driver to prefer maximum performance and use performance mode for texture filtering and all that stuff. And also like high performance power plan in Windows. So like the OS is tuned for scores. Though I might actually get, well, so this is Windows 10 Super Light. It's not normal Windows 10. It has a lot of stuff deactivated. But usually when you run Windows 7 you get better GPU utilization. This might be the same. Windows 7 might be slightly better for GPU score, but this thing should be the same. If you run a normal Windows 10 install, you will have a worse GPU score because your graphics card's gonna sit at like 97 to 98% usage, whereas here in the Windows 7 it sits at 100%. I don't know what causes that, but that's just what normal Windows 10 does. Just hates getting the last 3% out of the card for some reason. Seem to be stable here. One thing I've noticed is when I tested the dodgy card number 1, which actually is the lower one now, I noticed that card really likes to crash late into GT2. Probably because of heat. So I'm like really worried that it's gonna do that right now. The other card, the second card, which is the top one right now, that one I haven't tested individually yet. Okay, 11,500. So that's 1500 score from like our base. Okay. Usually I go in 25 steps, but I pre-tested one of the cards and the other one is fairly similar, so I like kinda... Usually I go in 25 steps, or actually just in like... Kepler has a 13 megahertz clock stepping. So you can go in 13 megahertz steps. I don't really care right now to get exactly clock steps, so I'm just gonna go in 50 megahertz intervals to make this quicker. I know what one of the cards can do, and the other card has a better ASIC quality and boosts one step higher out of the box, so even without cap mods it can probably do the same, so I kinda already know where this is gonna end up. The reason why I'm not just putting in settings where I think it's gonna max is so that you can kinda see the process of like how the card scales in score and clocks. One thing I also forgot to say is, you might have seen it in GPU-Z, the cards are both on Hynix memory, specifically Hynix 2GB AFR. AFR is the better 2GB IC that you can get from Hynix. There's also MFR, which is just kinda worse. It doesn't clock as high, just like period. And I think it also doesn't scale with voltage, whereas AFR doesn't have much voltage scaling, but it does have some voltage scaling. So volt modding the memory on this should actually help memory clock, which at least on the dodgy card I will attempt. Like the dodgy card's like kind of a project card. It's not really good for anything, but it's good enough to run up a couple benches on it, so I might as well just sacrifice it for science by just putting a whole bunch of mods on it and just kind of seeing where it ends up. I kind of actually really like these cards. Like, so basically the top card, that one was a proper repair. If you didn't watch the video, it had a dead GS7103, or it's GS7301, I'm not sure, I think GS7103, which is responsible for generating the PEX rail. That was dead, I replaced it, the card now works properly, whereas the other one I didn't really actually do anything to other than cleaning it, because that card had weird issues before and it still has weird issues. Anyway, 12,000 GPU basically. Let's do that. Let's do that. This might actually be where the core ends. Like, as I've said, these run like really low vCore, under 1.1 volts. So yeah. Like I remember measuring the voltage behind the core under load in GT1 with my multimeter, and it was 1.075. So yeah, fairly low. Kepler, like, there's cards that you buy and that they will run 1.2 volts out of the box. It's the higher end cards, but well, there are cards that do this. Most Kepler cards run like 1.15 or 1.125 stock, so that's still a fair bit higher than what these cards run. So the core clock on these is kinda pathetic, honestly. I can already tell you that they're not gonna break 1200 megahertz. They just won't, at least not with this voltage and this kind of cooling. Even though like these heatsinks, like the heatsinks in them are really small. They don't even have heat pipes, but because the fans are like the same fans that like the high-end cards have, they just move so much air that the cards actually, well, if I max the fans at 100% speed, like the entire time, I think these actually max at like 48 degrees. So they are already pretty cool. Putting water cooling on this is actually not gonna do that much, probably. It will make it a couple degrees better, but yeah, it's not gonna be as big of a difference as like your typical card. Then again, these run really low voltage, so these don't produce that much heat to begin with. So yeah. Seem to be stable for now. I just hope it's not gonna do the thing where it crashes right towards the end. Please don't do that. Please don't. Hey, it passed. Nice. What do we get? 12160. Okay. Okay. Let's actually check clock steps now, because I'm not so sure. Does the card boost? Yes, it does. Okay, the second card won't boost if I do this, which makes sense. You need to run it in full screen for SLI, but yeah, this gives me kind of an idea where, like, this is where we were. Is 190 another step? It is. It is one step higher. Is 200 another step higher than that? It also is. Okay, let's try 190. Because I think plus 200... I know the modded card can do 200, but it was very finicky about it before it was modded. So our unmodified card here might not do 200. And then once we've maxed the core, we will go to the memory. You'd be surprised how high the offset can get on this. Because, like, so, as far as I know, the memory chips that this uses are the same memory chips that you would get on a normal 760. The thing is, these come at 2.8 gigahertz stock. Normal 760s do like... Well, if you overclock... So, I haven't overclocked a normal 760, but I've done 680s, 770s, and 780s. And they usually do at least 3500 for memory. Good ones do like 3700, 3800, really good ones, but that's more like 780 Ti's do 4000. So you can, because it's the same chips that the other cards have, and we even have less chips on these cards, so there's less of a chance that we have one dot that's keeping the others down. Yeah, you can probably already think that we're gonna have quite a high offset here. Which we will, based off the findings from the first card that I tested. As I said, like our primary card right now is, I haven't tested that one by itself. I've done some pre-testing in SLI to make sure it works, but I've only ever tested our secondary card here, like to the max, without SLI. And we passed. Nice. And 12,273. Okay. Actually not gaining that much. Well, it was just one clock step. 1175. That's actually what the what the secondary card maxed at before it was modded. After it was modded, it like does one step more when it's cold enough. So actually, because the core is probably pretty close to maxing out, I will do memory now. So let's do this. That would be 3300. Actually, let's do this. Because I said, like, usually cards using these memory chips do 3500. Plus 700, that's quite an offset for a card from, well, 700 series is like 2013, well, actually 2014 is like 900 series already, so this is more like 2012, 2013. Damn, that's coming up on 10 years old. Yeah, so back then a 700, like these days a 700 offset is not much, like most cards can do like 1000 now. But back then, getting higher than plus 500 was quite an achievement. At least based off what I have seen from other cards. But like, again, these use the same chips as those and come at a much lower stock clock. So, yeah, you can put the offset that high. And given that these are 190-bit bus cards, which is 25% less than a normal GK104 card, these should also scale with your memory clock. Because, well, these have 25% less memory bandwidth. So, overclocking the memory should do something here. Like Fermi, for example, which is the generation before this, you could overclock the memory and it would like do a tiny bit for you, and not really anything consequential. But here we should see an actual increase. Oh, no, it did the thing. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This is stable. I've done pre-testing, I know this is stable. It just doesn't wanna do. Just crashed. Great. I'm just gonna do this. The video is long enough. That's where probably it maxes. The modded cards, well, the thing is I probably measured something wrong. Before the card was modded it did 200, which was probably wrong. After modding, the lower card now does 900, sometimes 925. This card, because it's like the upper card, because it's not modded, 50 MHz less, probably web maxes. So we might be close to our full score here. Because I'm pretty sure this is what the memory will max on. And I'm also thinking this is where the core will max on. If this passes, we're still gonna try to push it higher. And this should pass. This really should pass. Unless we have like problems. I could like I'm just gonna open the window to get our room temperature down a bit. Why not? Also, the heat was on. Okay, please don't do the thing where you crash. That would be very inconsiderate. It has like two favorite points where it crashes. One point is this scene, right about now, is the first point where it likes to crash, and then like towards the end when like the... Oh, damn it! Oh, why do you have to do this? Is it actually the core? It might actually be the core heating up. Even though like the 50 degrees, and then it runs even colder when it... Oh no, it did reach 50 though. Okay. It might actually be the core. Because like, yeah, Kepler likes cold. That's the kind of annoying part about these cards. They just... I don't know why it does that. It likes to crash in GT2, but like it doesn't seem to be memory. Because, well, I know that that memory is stable because I've ran it before and it passed several times. What I'm not sure about is the core. Like when I did pre-testing, I ran the cards with that memory offset in SLI and it passed. So I know that this memory offset works on both cards. What I didn't test was the core on the primary card here. So it might actually that the... Even though it has a better ASIC quality, the ASIC quality isn't everything. Also the upper card runs a bit hotter because, well, there's a card in the way. So it might be that our upper card is weaker and can't do core that high. Well, we'll find out shortly. Please do not crash here. Come on. Okay, we've made it past where it crashed last. Now just finish it. This is another part where it like... This is the second part where it likes to crash. Do not. Okay, great. We passed and... That's almost 12,600. We were at like 12,300 before. So yeah, that's memory clock. That's memory clock for you. And we are at lower core now for some reason. Because, well, I mean, if this is really memory bound, which the core suggests it is, putting the memory higher will put more data into the core, which means there's more stuff the core actually does. So the load onto the core increases, so that might be why it's not stable. So this might actually work. Let's test. I know plus 900 doesn't. But this might actually work. If I mod both these cards, well, I don't know if I'm gonna mod both cards. I will definitely mod the card that's already modded. I will go ham on that one and give it everything I've got. I kinda want to get like plus 1000 on the memory. Kinda wanna do that, just like, hey, I have a 28nm card that does like curing and ampere offsets on the memory. Just kinda a cool thing to claim. Okay, made it for GT1. Now for GT2. Come on, hold together. The last scene. Oh, nice. Come on, where's my score? Okay, that's not that much, but it's a bit. Okay, let's give it one more shot at 190 on the core. Like, the window's open now, the heat is off, the room has cooled down, I can feel it already. So, if it was just a temperature thing... Actually, let's just do this for a bit. I'm sorry for the audio, but... Yeah... Let's just, like, cool them down a bit. Should be able to do like 28 degrees with the fans maxed. Oh man, I can see it on the audio graph. It's really loud now. What does the... Yeah, it actually, like, I can't really visualize it a lot. Just like, well, yeah. Can I do this? Not really doing anything. Anyway, get the camera back. $30 degrees. That's the primary card, is it? 30. And the other one's doing 28. Okay. Well, let's put it back to auto. I said put it back to auto. Thank you. Now run. Before you heat up again. Well, the ass that's coming out of the card is colder now to the touch. Though we just started the benchmark as well. It's getting a bit warmer now. As you can hear, the fan speed also increases, so yeah. Okay, don't crash. Just please, cards, please, the two of you. I will like you very much and speak very highly of you if you pass this test. Come on, just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Come on, last scene. Just finish this. And we got it. Okay, what score? What is our score now? I hate it when it does that, when it like stays. Okay, basically 12,700. Basically 12,700. Okay. Very nice. Do we dare to push 200? So if we're gonna dare to push 200, I know the memory absolutely doesn't do 900. I've tested the memory, it doesn't do 900 at all. It like insta crashes. I'm daring to do 200 on the core, or the cores, both of them. If that crashes, this is our final score. So mark this as the final score. 1200, 680. No, is it 89 or 98? It's 89, right? It's weird. Like in German, it's the other way around. Like you say that number first and then that number. Anyway, 12,689 should be. Final score, should 200 not pass. Still hoping it does, but 200 on our unmodified primary card here might be a little bit too much to bear. But then again, I believe in you, little card. I believe you can. It's not an instant crash. So that's like what's telling me that we have like temperature problems. Because usually when your core is like really maxed out, it doesn't get very far into GT1. When it gets into GT1 and then crashes like late into GT1 or even in GT2, that's like a heat problem. So just slapping these on water cooling might just help. Then again, these run pretty cool, and it might actually be like the boost algorithm taking away a little bit of voltage because of heat. That's actually crashing them. Which then, well, then again, cooling them down would help, but it's not directly caused by the heat, more like the GPU driver being very dumb. I mean, we passed GT1, which is the core test. So if we crash now, that's like a heat thing, or like the GPU driver being very dumb. Are we actually getting quite far into this? Please pass, please pass. Just come on, a little bit more. Come on. Oh, we've done it. Yeah, I think it's probably just heat, because now we cooled the realm. Talking German again. We cooled the room down, and now it did 200, which you saw before it didn't do. 12,822. Nice. It's pretty nice. Let's actually look up HWBot. Oh yeah, that's what LLD does to your browser. So at the end of this, I'm not gonna test more, the video is long enough, 50 minutes. Let's see what like ambient cooled 780s do in Firestrike. So that's like way too high. Let's see if we ran 1188. Let's look for a card that runs about the same clock speed as us. What's with this one? We're actually running higher memory. We have like 1834 on the memory. Oh, wait, what? There's no validation screenshot. Well, I mean, it has this link. Oh, we beat it. We are faster than a 780. At like, that 780 was even faster. It had slower memory, but like the core. That ain't bad. Okay, can we... Oh, I just noticed that like these, all of these up here also run like okay, these just have very bad efficiency then. This person has a screenshot. Of course we have it LOD'd. I just noticed. Screenshot's completely useless to us. We also beat that. Like basically like one step below. Do we have a card that's 1142? Yeah, 1188. Exact same clock speed as us. Slightly higher memory even. How good are we? Yo, that's like really low. This person got carried by that 9900K. Why is that so low? The card's matching our core and faster on than our memory. How does the... Maybe like a really old driver. Then again, this is on 1900K, that can't be that old. When... February 2019, okay, it's like about to be 3 years old, but yeah. Okay. Maybe there were like some... Or maybe this guy's Windows is just... Then again... Okay, it the LOD'd image, but like his setup looks... Okay, it wasn't a reference card. So the clock speed might have been a lot lower than what it says. Because like the reference card like starts out at a high clock and then like drops down a lot. Maybe that's why. Do we have any... 1136. 1189 again here. That matches our clock. And this person doesn't have a verification link. Oh, doing that helps. Okay, this person has a slightly higher GPU score than we have. 12946 versus 12822. Okay, that's legit. So, yeah. Also, this person's on Windows 7, so their efficiency is about on par with like this Windows 10 Superlight install. Then again, okay, they're getting like their total score is getting carried by that 1900K, but the GPU score is in line. They have the same core, slightly slower memory. So, judging by the score here, 760 192-bit in SLI, in at least in Firestrike, has like almost 100% scaling. Like we have the same amount of cores in total as a 780. And the same core clock as a 780, and we're almost matching that GPU score. Which is pretty cool. Like, I mean, yeah, both these cards are obsolete by now, but like, just like imagine if like in 2012, you for some reason get your hands on two of the like 760 or 660 OEM cards, you put them in SLI, and you effectively have like a GTX Titan or like a 780, back when it was like the newest stuff, which was like the cutting edge. You have basically that worth of performance with like two cards pulled from pre-built systems. That's like pretty cool. Yeah. So the video is actually getting to an hour now, so I do want to end here. Yeah, I do want to end here. So here's our settings. Maximum 51 degrees, so like, yeah, that's like, without even having the fans max at 100% the entire time. These run pretty cool. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, at least a little bit. Video's longer than I hoped it would be, but yeah. Those start difficulties at the beginning, couldn't really have done much. Well, I guess I could have restarted the video recording, but too late now. So, thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned something. It's not really a video you learn much from, we just put some sliders, but anyway, if you learned something, that's good for you. Until next time, and goodbye.